Hi, Keo. How was your test?
Hi, Mom. The test sucked. I failed.
Oh, no. What happened?
My teacher doesn't explain anything. I was not prepared for it.
Oh, no. Sounds like you need a tutor. I have a referral from a friend for a guy, I think his name is James Tierney from ME Tutoring. I'll call and see if I can get you in with him.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Hi, my name is Keo.
Hi, my name is James.
Nice to meet you.
Your mom called and she sounded very concerned about your performance in your economics class. So why don't you take a seat over there and get yourself comfortable and please tell me, what is it that you don't understand?
I do not understand GDP. I failed the last test on GDP.
Ah, perfect. That was exactly what I was going to talk about.
Oh, good.
Now, let's start by defining a couple of terms. So first, let's define GDP. It's a market value of all final goods and services produced by labor and property located within a country in a given period of time. It's typically a year. Now that we define GDP, we can, there's two parts of GDP. There's real GDP and there's nominal GDP. There's a difference though. For real GDP, it's going to be adjusted for inflation and it's going to use base price year to be calculated. Now, for nominal GDP, it's not going to be adjusted for inflation and it's going to use current year prices. So there's the difference. That's the big gap. Now, let's talk about the four components of the GDP. So first we have consumption, investments, government purchases, and net exports. Now, consumption is basically purchasing final goods and services. Investments are basically purchase of firms and industries of new property, new machinery, and stuff like that. But the key thing to point out here, for instance, if you're about to purchase a new house, that won't be counted as consumption, that will be counted as investments.
Oh, interesting.
Now, for government purchases, that's basically going to be the spending of the national, state, local government on the projects that they're going to sponsor. Now, the last thing, net exports, really what that means is basically exports minus imports.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah, basically that's all you need to know.
That's easy.
So now that we've defined the four components and difference between nominal and real GDP, I want to really emphasize the difference between real and nominal GDP. I've set up an example for you. So we're going to calculate four different products. We're going to calculate nominal and real GDP. For nominal GDP, the first thing that I need to point out is that in the production of t-shirts, cotton was used. So cotton is technically an intermediate good, which would not be counted.
Okay.
Also, another thing to point out is that used goods would not be also counted in the GDP. Now, to calculate the nominal GDP, all you need to really do is multiply the 2011 quantity of products and 2011 price of those products. When you multiply them all, add them all together, and you're going to get, in this case, 36,940 for these three products. Now, for real GDP, all you need to do is take the 2011 quantity of all products, multiply it by the base price year, this one right here, and you're going to do the same thing. Multiply and add, and you're going to get to 22,600. Now, as you might notice, there's a difference between nominal GDP and real GDP. That is, basically, the price have changed over the course of 6 years. And also, as I pointed out, inflation, that adjustment for inflation is going to play also a role in the difference between the value of these two GDPs. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about GDP deflator. Basically, all you need to know is the GDP deflator equals to nominal GDP over real GDP times 100. Now, I'm going to use this example right here to calculate the GDP deflator. So, for 2011, it's going to be the nominal GDP over real GDP multiplied by 100 is going to give you 163.5.
Wow, that's really simple.
It is.
I get it now.
Yes. Your professor is making it more difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's...
Hi, Keo.
Hi, Mom.
How was tutoring?
Tutor was great. James is such a great teacher.
Fantastic. What'd you learn?
I learned a lot of things about GDP, like the components and the calculations, and also shortcomings of GDP in terms of total production. And things that aren't included are household production, like cleaning and cooking at home, and also underground economy like selling and buying of illegal drugs and prostitution isn't included. And also I learned that there are shortcomings of GDP in terms of well-being, and things that aren't included are value of leisure time, negative externalities like pollution, and social problems like crimes, and the distribution of goods and services.
Wow, you really did learn a lot.
I did, but I still don't understand why we need to learn about this.
Well, GDP is the primary indicator used to gauge the health of a country's economy. When the economy is healthy, there's typically low unemployment and increasing wages as businesses expand and grow to meet their new sales. GDP is also used as a measure of prosperity, but this one can be a little bit tricky because a country that places a high value on leisure time than material consumption may be seen as less prosperous. While you were at tutoring, I found a quote by Nobel laureate Paul Samuelson, and he says, "Without measures of economic aggregates like GDP, policymakers would be adrift in a sea of unorganized data. The GDP and related data are like beacons that help policymakers steer the economy toward the key economic objectives."
That's interesting.
Yeah. James also, I was checking my email, he sent me a website link to a website called gapminder.com, and it graphs important trends around the world, such as economic growth and health, labor trends, population, and other variables. It looks very interesting. We should check it out after dinner.
Yeah, we should.
Well, it sounds like you're ready for your next test.
I am.
Great.
Thank you so much for your help, Mom.
Oh, no problem. We'll thank James, too.
Uh-huh.